Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's our Saturday back at our normal time. I'm here with Elijah Weintraub, my co-host. It's the 24th day of 2026 of January, and it's bitter cold. So everybody hunkered down. We got a big storm coming. And Eli, how was your week, my friend?
It was a great and busy week, and there was snow on the way, so be safe out there. And don't go crazy shopping because there's not much there, and it's only a 2 day storm. It's okay. And we're gonna, of course, start off the show by starting off with the monologue sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summer Hill, New York.
You
And
have the honor this week, my friend. Take it
I
away.
do have the honor, and it's an honor as always. And there's, of course, one big topic to talk about. There's obviously football. That's the main story. And the monologue tells me about the Buffalo Bills. And the question that is the focus of today's monologue: will the Buffalo Bills ever win a Super Bowl? That is the question. And to me, the answer is no, not right now. At least not for a while. Because what we
Mhm.
saw last week was a horrible overtime performance by the Buffalo Bills. It looked like they forgot to play football for a second. The final score 33-30 in overtime. And this is with a quarterback who is now injured and out for the season on the Denver Broncos side. On top of that, Josh Allen in overtime was awful. I mean, that was just, I mean, it doesn't get worse than this. And then on top of that, your defense is making silly mistakes. As a result, Sean McDermott gets fired on Monday. And now it comes down to this for Josh Allen next year. This is going to be a make or break year for him. If he can go to the Super Bowl and prove everybody wrong that he is worthy to be the Buffalo Bills quarterback. But if he can't do much next year, I could assure you he does not belong in the Buffalo Bills as a quarterback, and it's going to ruin his career. Let me tell you, I
Mhm.
mean, because it's unacceptable that overtime performance that we saw last week, and it's a make or break year with new head coach. If he can't do it next year, the Buffalo Bills will never go to Super Bowl, and he may ruin his career just like that. And if you can do some comparisons, before Aaron Judge was good this year in baseball in the postseason run, you can compare Josh Allen to the old Aaron Judge of the baseball postseason run because this seems like what's happening. Great in the regular season, but when it comes to postseason, doesn't know how to play football. It's horrible to say. Um, we'll see what happens. And again, next year is going to be a make or break year for Josh Allen, and a lot is running on the line for the Buffalo Bills, especially with new blood of head coach next year.
Well, certainly is an interesting take, and in people pointing the finger directly at Josh Allen, but I think he's a warrior. I think he's given it all. And I don't understand the Buffalo Bills and their firing of Sean McDermott. I really don't. I have a lot of friends. My roommates are Bills fans. They agree with that, even though I think his record is outstanding. Um, but I also have some Bills fans that disagree with it based on McDermott's record. The team loves him, but yeah, I think the responsibility is you're right about that, Eli. I mean, you do have to look at Josh Allen. He won the MVP last year. He is a warrior, and I give him all that credit. But yeah, he didn't make the plays he needed to when they needed it the most. And yeah, unfortunately, this is we know the history of the Buffalo Bills and the four Super Bowl losses, and um, it's just for me, I can't give all the blame to him, but and I
You're
look
absolutely
at
right.
it,
You
but it
can't,
ends up
but
costing McDermott his job. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. You can't blame fully on him, but he played a major part, especially in that overtime run. You have to
yes,
argue that one as well. Yes, his defense too. Don't get me wrong, but he did play a major part in that loss.
he did, he did.
By the way, for those watching, feel free to call in anytime. You could scan the QR code or click on the link in the chat. We do have a couple comments I want to get to first. Brendan says, "Good morning. Good morning." He also says the NFL would have had major juice if Allen was playing in the blizzard this weekend versus New England. The NFL Championship weekend has no buzz. That's a great take. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
and Bill says, "Good morning. Good
it would have
morning,
been
Bill. How you
better. I
doing
agree,
today?"
Brendan. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him, the Bills in the
Yes.
championship game, but
And you know what?
unfortunately, yeah.
I think we should just go ahead and talk about that since that brought up a great point. I have some couple thoughts I want to bring up. So let's go to the NFL. We'll talk some NFL football first. And you're bringing
Okay.
up that, and you're right. Uh, and he's absolutely right in the case of the Denver Broncos have no quarterback right now, the main star quarterback. You have no Bo Nix, who is out with the season with a broken ankle. That happened last week during last Saturday's game. So now, really,
Mhm.
looks like New England has a clear shot to go into the Super Bowl and winning the AFC. The only major game to watch out for is the NFC Championship with Los Angeles and Seattle. Because if you think about it, Los Angeles, they won last week 20-17, but in overtime. Seattle, they won big 41-6, but they've also had some struggles when they played Los Angeles before. So we'll have to wait and see how that matchup goes. And you can make a great case, like Brendan mentioned. You know, AFC right now has no buzz because Buffalo Patriots look like the best team. Denver Broncos don't have a star
Mhm.
quarterback. But on the flip side, though, you have the Seattle Seahawks Los Angeles game that looks like a really good game to watch out for. So it's a 50
Well,
50
there
situation.
are you're right. I mean, but to say New England didn't play a very good game last week, and I think they were kind of fortunate to move on to the championship game. Yeah, it's a big disappointment for Denver fans because Knicks has had a great year for them. They're going with a backup quarterback, Stidham, who really hasn't done anything in the NFL. So the pressure could be way too much to over. I think Sean Payton, I think he's a good coach. I really do. So I
Yeah,
don't know. We're going to make our picks in a little bit. As far as Seattle goes, I think Eli, your Seahawks. I think the biggest concern is this oblique injury that Sam Darnold has significant enough that it could take him out of the game, and I don't know that for sure. He came through last week and he's had a great
yeah,
season. And going back, if you go back to the old sports with mono and mono tape, I never believed in Sam Darnold, but what he did with the
absolutely.
Vikings last year and what he's done with the Seattle Seahawks this year, he's kind of turned his career around. But they did lose their starting running back, Charbonnet. That
Which
could
is
be
big.
a big thing too. Yep.
And they're
So
battling injuries. That's the key part that we need to know. They are battling injuries.
yes,
Even
yes.
even though Sam Darnold looks to be okay, there was a quote unquote injury last week. He played fine, but will that play
Yeah.
a factor? We'll have to just wait and see. And you brought up a great point there. Bill comments. He says his upset picks. He got the Rams and the Broncos. That is bold takes there, my friend. Bold takes. Good luck with that. We'll
All
talk
right,
about our picks
William.
again later on.
We
But
will get our picks.
speaking of the
We will.
Seahawks, how about Shaheed Rahid last week? What a play! First play of the game, 95 yards. I mean, unbelievable to
Yeah.
start the game. I mean, that really just gave huge momentum to Seattle, and the crowd was wild. And that's the type of crowd you want to see at an NFL football game. It's one of the toughest places to play because the 12th man. Unbelievable atmosphere was last week in Seattle. That was a crowd.
It was. It was. And Eli,
Let's talk about.
before we, yep. But I was just want to say before we move on and actually make our picks, let's just touch base on this coaching carousel, which has
Yes.
been unprecedented in an off season as I can ever remember in the NFL. And there are still 4 jobs remaining. And when you talked a lot about the Buffalo Bills. The fact that they interviewed Philip Rivers for the head coaching job means I don't even know who's in control out there in Buffalo anymore because, this guy he came back, he played the last 3 or 4 weeks of the regular season. Does that make him qualified to be a head coach in this league? Absolutely not. I don't know if they're trying to distract from the real issues surrounding Buffalo, but that job is still open. I still think Brian Dable will get that job. He has a lot of Buffalo ties and he's from the area and so forth. So I think this Rivers thing is more cosmetic than anything.
Yep.
But you also have the Raiders, Cleveland, and Arizona, and nobody wants the Arizona job. Nobody wants
Nope.
the Cleveland job. And right
Nope.
now, the Raiders. I mean, the only reason a guy would want to take the Raiders job is
It's
because they're
because
going to have
Mendoza.
because they're gonna have Mendoza. That's exactly right.
But the
So
question is, and I'm going to bring up the names that were hired this week in a minute, but the Raiders, they need an offensive guy. And that is just the bottom line because they need to build up that O line. And not just that, they need somebody to properly train Mendoza. And I'm talking about Mendoza and my feelings about him and when we get to college football. But though you really need an offensive guy as your head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders right now. That is going to be your key. I don't think you need a defensive mindset as your head coach.
well, Eli, to that point, that brings me to the Tennessee Titans of hiring of Robert Saleh. First and
Yes,
foremost, he was a disaster as a head coach with the New York Jets.
I
And yes,
agree.
you can say it's the Jets. We get it. It's a
It is the
bad
Jets, so
situation.
we have to minus the Jets though. But he did play phenomenal when he was with San Francisco these past couple of years. I got to give him credit.
Agreed, but his record is also 20-39. So, and you want to talk about
Just minus the Jets, so
who
we have to
needed
keep that in mind.
right, but who needed an offensive-minded head coach when you're talking about the potential for your future? I don't think he's a franchise quarterback, Cam Ward, but I think this
I
was an
agree.
opportunity for them to get somebody, if they really believe in Cam Ward, not a defensive-minded head coach. So I question that hire.
You
I
could
just
question.
don't.
I
It
think it's
doesn't
a
make
good
a
pick
lot of
though.
sense. Yeah.
You could absolutely question. I think it was a good pick though. I think he has a lot of potential, and I think he is a good
Mm.
fit for the Titans. Some of the other names that I want to bring up real quick. Falcons named Kevin Stefanski, new head coach. Ravens named former defensive coordinator for the Chargers, Jesse Minter. Chiefs bring back Eric Benami. Chargers named Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel as their new offensive coordinator. The Dolphins named Packers offensive coordinator Jeff Hafley as their new head coach. And we
Yeah.
know the big story. Of course, McDermott fired for the Bills. That's an open vacancy now. But yeah, these names, I kind of like some of these hires. And of course, we like them, but we got to wait to see what happens when football comes back into play. We have to keep that in mind. I want to go to Brandon now, who's calling in now. Brendan, good morning. Can you hear us? I think you got
Hello,
on mute.
Brendan.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning. How
Hi,
are you?
Brendan.
Just to add to this conversation, I know that you're going to get to it, but I figured I'd beat you to the punch. How fortunate the New York Giants are to go out and get a Hall of Fame head coach in the fashion that they did, especially when you see how transient the NFL coaching carousel is. I mean, could you imagine the Giants walking away with? I mean, it's still a top job, but I mean, could you imagine with them looking at where they've been the last 15 years since their last Super Bowl? Now they're paying a guy $20 million to coach the team, and uh, Eli, your point about the Raiders is taken. But the thing I love most about Harbaugh is that he coaches all three sides of the ball, and he's going to bring his
Yes.
offensive coordinator with him, Todd Monken, and they're going to build around Jackson Dart. And I know it states pretty much the obvious of what everybody else is saying, but this could be a team to look out for next year. They could make a serious jump. And, my second point is that what I had put in the chat, I just don't feel the buzz the way I normally do. I mean, I feel like there's bigger storylines going around in the country right now, from the weather to even the Harbaugh move to New York. But I will close with this. The weather situation across the country is going to produce massive ratings for these games tomorrow.
No
Yes.
question.
Everybody's going to be hunkered down, pretty much watching football. That's the only thing that there is to do. And but I just don't feel it, and I'm hoping that you guys can, turn me on to the idea of, either rooting for X versus Y, or Y versus Z, or whatever it may be, because I'm just not feeling it. But have a great show. I'll be listening.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much as
Brendan.
always. Thank
And
you.
listen, I'm glad that Brendan brought that up because for the New York Giants to hire Harbaugh, and I know there's a lot of one of my loyal listeners, Frankie, he doesn't think that this was a great hire. I think this was an important hire because as we look around, yes, on paper, the Giants, they have their quarterback of the future. They have
Yes.
some excellent players on defense. And yes,
Absolutely.
this guy Harbaugh is a seasoned pro. I like the pick. This was critical that they got this right. So if we still have some of the same issues going forward, then maybe it's a problem with the organization. But I'm happy that we took a seasoned, proven, potential Hall of Fame coach to take over
Absolutely.
the New York Giants. And that's why I sometimes question, like, you know, Robert Sala. I mean, you think he's going to come around and turn the Tennessee Titans around? I mean, I just don't see
Well, I
it
mean,
at
he'll be
all.
doing a lot better than 3-14 from last season. I mean, you can give that an argument.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
The
But I
goal is to
think
not
the
be
I
3 and
think the
14 and to be in the top 3 picks every year of the draft. You want to get a little further. Even if they don't make it to the playoffs, I'm fine with that. But as long as if they have a winning record, not 3-14, then he did his job.
yeah, it's a big hire for the Giants. I mean, to go outside of their organization
That
and
is true.
we've tried this experiment with these young coaches, right? We saw it with McAdoo and with
Yes.
Joe Judge and Pat Shermer, and it's just been a disastrous 10 years. So I'm hoping, Brendan, you're
The
right
hope
that this is going to right the ship for the Giants.
the only thing is they have a coach and stuff. They just need to make sure that Jackson Dart stays healthy. That is the most important thing. Because we noticed this year, what did he do a lot? He had a lot of concussions. He was out for a little bit. We have Neighbors who is out for the season with an ACL, but he'll be back next year. That's a plus. We just have to keep in mind to make sure that the quarterback, Jackson Dart, stays healthy. Because yes, they have a coach, they have everything they need. They're going to do great in the draft. I have a good feeling with that. But the question is, who is going to be their next backup? And will Jackson Dart stay healthy? And how can he stay healthy this season? That's the most
Yeah.
important question that the Giants need to ask themselves at this time.
And it's so funny when we're talking about this coaching carousel. And I have a friend of mine who's a diehard, grew up in Green Bay, from Wisconsin, and he's a Packers fan. And, you know, there was talk if they got knocked out of the playoffs, which they did, that Matt LaFleur was going to be fired. And instead,
Absolutely.
they turned this around and they give him an extension. I think he's a good coach. I just don't think Jordan Love is going to be a great quarterback. I like his talent.
I agree with
I've
that
been,
one.
and you know, I've said I like him a lot, but I've watched him closely in games that futures, you know, top of the line quarterbacks answer the bell. And I
Absolutely.
don't see that with him. So, you know, there was conversations. I would have been happy with um, Matt LaFleur if he was available. But you know, out of the two, yes, I agree with Brendan. I think John Harbaugh was the right choice. I do.
And also want to give Brendan a lot of credit there for bringing up a great point about TV ratings going to be skyrocketing because of snowstorms. You're absolutely right about that. And we'll see if it either beats the Super Bowl total this year, comes near it, or what. But he brought up a great point about the ratings being high this week. And I want to give him a lot of credit for that one. Good point there.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I kind of do wish there were more. I don't know. They're not really super intriguing games to me, but you know,
the
we're going to be
NFC is.
hunkered
The
down.
AFC, different story. I will say the NFC is definitely a great game to watch. The AFC, I don't know. Because the NFC, if you look at both these teams, Seattle's really good. But when it comes to Los Angeles and Seattle together, it's a different type of game if we notice. So we'll have to wait
Yeah,
and see how the game goes out tomorrow.
we will.
Let's go to the NFL picks. But before we do that, we got to take a look at that standings chart. It's a requirement every week due to our legal team. 48 and 20,
Bring it up,
45
my
28 is where
friend. Bring it
Jim
up.
stands. 45-28 to where Jim stands. I stand at 42 and 31. I'm kind of making some ground, but I don't think we're going to win it because I don't think that we're going to. I think we're going to have a lot of similar picks for the last 3 picks of our season. Last week we both went 2 and 2, so that was some plus. But
We did.
there it is, Jim. This is it. This is good coming down to the end.
Well, like I was telling, and I'll share this with our audience as you and I talked before before we
Yeah,
came
yeah.
on the air. There's no shame in finishing second to the defending champion. So you did good. You gave me a run for my money, my friend.
Listen, I will just say this. I am proud that I finished, even though I'm going to probably finish second. I want to just say this. I'm proud that I came closer than last year to you. It became a lot
You did.
closer, my record this year. So I'm going to give myself a lot of credit. I'm going to pat myself on the back on that one. So I'm happy about this.
Hey, listen, I appreciate a good contender to try to knock me
Absolutely.
off. I do. I do.
Okay, great.
And listen, Eli,
let's-
one other quick point I wanted to bring up before we make our picks. And this is an interesting thing because I think we all saw this coming, that now even Robert Kraft is pushing for the 18 game season, and that's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. And
Which is a great
but
thing.
he did also propose that, as we've talked about time and time again, the NFL, the money making machine it's going
Yep.
international. He's proposing that each team plays an international game if they go to an 18 game season. So that's a very interesting thing. And when you have Robert Kraft, that means he's all on board with Roger Goodell and making this happen.
I disagree with the international because we have a lot of early morning games. Not many people want to get up early to watch these games. Sorry, I was about to sneeze there for a second. They don't want to get up early to watch these games. We have 9:30 in the morning games. Not many people want to get up early and watch these early morning games at 9:30, especially for the West Coast people. 9:30 for us on the East Coast is 6:30 in the morning. Who wants to get up on the West Coast at 6:30 in the morning just to watch a football game? That might not be good. And I apologize if I was about to sneeze, so I do want to apologize if it sounded like I was about to pass
It's
out.
okay. It's cold outside.
It is.
All right, Eli, give me your picks. Take us away. Come on.
We'll start off with the AFC Championship, 3:00 on CBS. The number 2 Patriots at the number 1 Denver Broncos. New England is favored by 4.5 on the road. And you know what? I am going to agree. They have no Bo Nix for the Denver Broncos. They have a backup coming in, not much playoff experience, and I think the Patriots are going to win this one 22-16. So I'm going to go with New England in this one.
Wow. Okay.
Next up, the number 5 Rams at the number 1 Seattle Seahawks, the NFC Championship, 6:30 on Fox. Seattle's a 2.5 favorite. It's in Seattle, the game. That 12th man's going to be loud. Give me the Seattle Seahawks 28-24, and we will see a rematch of Super Bowl 49. But this time, we are going to run the football at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl, not go and throw it for the game on the line. Super Bowl is going to be Patriots, Seahawks. That's my picks.
Okay. Well, all right. So and as I mentioned before, New England didn't play a very good game last week, and they managed to get enough done to move on. And yeah, the circumstances surrounding Denver. We've talked all year that Denver, they won a lot of games in the fourth quarter and so forth, but I think that luck runs out this time. And I'm going with the New England Patriots because I believe in Mike Vrabel. It may be a little bit early to baptize Drake May as one of the elite quarterbacks in the league, obviously, but his future is bright. And this is a devastating loss for Denver to lose Nix. And it was almost like I didn't even notice it, didn't even hear about it until after the game.
Yeah.
But they are at home. They do play well at home, but I'm still going to take New England. And it would be a great story from where they were last year to where they came from with Mike Vrabel this year. It'd be a great, great story. So I'm going to take New England. We're aligned there. Now, the second game at 6:30, the Seattle Seahawks are hosting the Rams. And, Matthew Stafford has had, probably an MVP season. He's probably going to be the MVP.
Yep.
I think they have enough. I think, Kieran Williams is a very good running back. So I think they're primed here to pull the upset on the road against Seattle. And that's where I'm going. I'm going to believe in Matthew Stafford over Sam Darnold. And I keep that one little thing in the back of my head when you're talking about an oblique injury, which may or may not be as serious as originally thought. He played a great game.
Right.
And you're right. The 12th man, it is probably one of the toughest places to play. but I think the Rams have enough talent with Puka Nacua and that I'm going to take the Rams
Wow.
to beat Seattle
Big pick.
this week.
Big pick there. Well, enjoy the games
So you
tomorrow,
can
and
make up
let's go
one.
ahead
You
and
can
move.
make up. You can make up ground.
I wish you disagreed on the Patriots one. I wish you said Denver so I could at least get some type of lead. No, yeah, it's big and the Patriots like me. It's
All
like
right.
whatever. Anyways, good luck as always. Let's
You
go to
too.
college football, and the Indiana Hoosiers are national champions. And to celebrate, Google says, "Yup, he won." When you Google Kurt Signetti, did you ever Google Kurt Signetti this week, Jim?
No, I did not. No.
Well, do me a favor. Go on to Google right now and Google Kurt Signetti. Because if you Google Kurt Signetti right now, it says up top, yep, he won. The reason why he said it's up there by Google is because a few years ago, he told the media, I win. Google me. And Google put a thing up and it says, yep, he won. So I don't know if anybody's seen the meme. Jim, I would Google him if I were you. Google Kurt Signetti. On the top of the thing, it's going to say, yep, he won. It was unbelievable.
Well, it really is quite a story, Eli. I mean, we've talked about it. It took me a while to be a believer. I knew, the year they had last year was outstanding, and they came back. And you just have to admire what Kirk Signetti's done. And yes, these are older kids, meaning they've been around for a little bit longer. The average age is like 23, but that's the landscape of college football now with the NIL
Absolutely.
and so forth. But what a job he did. And we can't say enough about this guy, Fernando Mendoza. I mean, he's such a wonderful kid,
He is. And I'm proud of everything he's done in the national championship. His interviews this week on ABC's Good Morning America, the Today Show, and the CBS Mornings were all phenomenal. His younger brother played phenomenal. But, and it's going to cause some controversy in the chat, I don't think he's ready, though, for the NFL just yet. Why?
Well, it's hard to say. Yeah, rookies are rookies.
Rookies are rookies. Yes, you could argue that one. But here's my reason why, and I know the chat's going to go crazy in a second. Number one, he's going to likely go to the Raiders, who currently have no head coach at the moment. O-line is banged up. Not the best receivers in the world. And I think what made him shine in Indiana was the head coaching in Kurt Signetti. I think that's what really motivated him to play unbelievable football. I also think, yes, you could argue Kurt Signetti, that's what the biggest part was for Mendoza and making the run for it. Look at the national championship game. He got banged up quite a bit. He was bruised up for a good portion of the game. He didn't look like that Rose Bowl game that he had a couple weeks ago with Oregon. It doesn't seem like that, the Rose Bowl performance and even the Oregon game. It just doesn't match up what we saw at the national championship versus what we saw at the bowl games. You look at from the Titans' perspective. The Titans, they got Cam Ward. They only go 3-14. You didn't know much about him. He wasn't even like a star this year with the Titans. So I think if it was up to me, I would think he should stay another year in college football and stay there before he goes to the NFL. We know he's going to go to the NFL. He already declared for the draft. He's going to be number one. But I just don't think he's NFL material ready to go. And I don't think he's going to shine in the NFL just yet. Well, keep that in mind. Let me know in the chat if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, let's just look at it from the collegiate perspective. And, Brendan made an outstanding point a couple of weeks ago. And when we looked at the game and the matchup, I mean, I think we both took Indiana. Did you take Miami last week? I don't remember.
No, I took Indiana. Yep.
All right.
I took Indiana.
So, Brendan was right. They have a lot of talent on that team. And you saw this kid, Ruben Bain, his draft stock went through the roof. And there was a lot of talent on that team. And yes, Mendoza took quite a beating from that Miami defense. But that touchdown run to put them up.
That was unbelievable. No question.
It was unbelievable.
But that's one play. That's one play, though. He got bruised up mostly the rest of the game. And I think listen, I think he's absolutely worthy of the MVP of the game. I thought he was unbelievable. I just don't think personally he's going to have that same energy in the NFL, and I think it's just because Curt Cignetti played a big factor with him and the entire Indiana team, and that's
Well,
just me.
well,
My opinion.
that's key to the Raiders' decision. I mean, because they're going to take this kid without question, unless somebody
They are.
backs up a Brinks truck and offers them, so many draft picks and things like that. But I just, like I said, I'm so happy for, my
I
buddy
am.
Tom Pugh, and I have another friend who has two kids. And doesn't your buddy Jack go to Indiana? He must be psyched too, right?
Yep, he does. Everybody's happy
Yep.
right now. Oh, absolutely. And I'm happy too for the kid Mendoza and everybody. I just, this is my feelings about him in the NFL. But overall, though, I think he did a great job. I'm proud of Indiana and go
Yeah, but
Hoosiers.
just overall, when you think about the transformation of that program under Curt Cignetti from
Oh, it's
a
unbelievable.
program it was only a basketball school, period, basketball. And now it's a football thing, and he's not going anywhere. He's going to try to make himself into, the next Nick Saban and win multiple national championships. But just a great story all around. I'm happy for all
Absolutely.
Hoosierville out there.
Couple comments. First, Eric says, "Good morning to all. Happy Saturday." Good morning, Eric. Thank you for tuning in.
Yep.
Tom says, Tom Brady will take care of Fernando. Yes, in the money perspective, but how much can he take care of from the coaching perspective? Because he can't coach. He's only an owner, and he's still broadcasting. And we know the whole fit about when he steps onto the field and goes in part of the owners and making decisions. Stuff. No, he is an owner, not part owner, whatever you call it. But he's a broadcaster. That's his job, not a head coach. Let's clarify that.
Yeah, but don't think it. Tom is absolutely right. There will be Tom Brady, may be a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, but he is going to be in charge of running that team. And yes, you could state it's a conflict of interest, possibly. But I think if Tom Brady, and
Absolutely,
I
it
told
is.
you guys before, when I read the book, The Dynasty, it was amazing the commitment that Tom Brady put into preparing himself to become one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And you can't dismiss that he's going to have an enormous amount of impact on the development of Fernando Mendoza. I think that's a great point. I think it's a great point.
Yeah. Couple comments. Andrew says, "Good morning, guys. Jets fans wish they can get Mendoza. Yeah, no, that's where he would ruin his career. I hate to be
Yes,
honest with you.
I know.
That's a bad take. I'm sorry about that, Andrew. But yes, they do wish so. Diego, good morning. Good morning, Diego. How are you?" And Tom says again, Brady's in charge of hiring the coach. Yes, absolutely, you're right about that. And Andrew also says, BTW, Rutgers beat Indiana and Miami in 2023. That was 3 years ago. This is 2026. But I appreciate the comments, though. I got no beef with you, Andrew. Just saying. I just trying to
Rutgers
bring
beat
that up. It's
Indiana.
22.
All right,
I
that's a good
appreciate
thing.
that
That was a
comment,
great
though.
game,
But
though.
it's
And
2026. Brendan also says, Raiders should roll the dice, pay Cignetti, and draft Mendoza. I also wouldn't be mad if Brady is too involved with Vegas and leaves broadcasting to make Olsen the number one guy. I agree with that one, but we know he's not going to do that. I think he enjoys broadcasting and also being an owner and being the jack of all
yeah,
trades, in my opinion.
I think you're right. But yeah, no, Signetti's not going anywhere, Brendan.
No, he's
The
not.
NFL,
No, he
when
ain't.
you succeed on a collegiate level, we saw it. Nick Saban came
You're
out
staying there.
and went to the NFL. It's just a different mindset, and I don't think you can
Yep,
convey, the coaching stuff to an NFL player like you can a collegiate player. So,
I
excuse
agree.
me.
Let's talk some MLB baseball
Yeah.
at this time. Congrats to Indiana, by the way, on the Indiana of the championship win. Couple big moments from the New York
Yep.
sports world this week. That's the big
Yep.
storyline. The Mets signed Freddie Peralta from the Brewers. They also signed Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox. And the Yankees re-signed Cody Bellinger to a 5-year, $162 million deal. The Texans also signed Mackenzie Gore in a 5-for-1 trade with the Nationals. But the big storyline is the big trades with the Yankees and the Mets and the
Yeah,
signings.
I got a couple of points I wanted to bring up. So somebody asked me, if you look at the Mets and the Yankees, and the Mets pretty much cleaned house. They got rid of Nimmo and they got rid of McNeil and they got so the Mets on paper, and this should make Andy happy. They improved their chances because they weren't going to win a World Series with the lineup that they fielded last year. So give them credit. They did make something. Um, they made a lot of changes, and whether it works out, of course, that remains to be seen. But they did a lot more than the other New York team, the Yankees. And I knew that Bellinger was going to stay with the Yankees. I said it all along. You know, he had an opportunity to play with Aaron Judge. His father played for the Yankees. He, you know, winning a World Series with the Yankees is what it was all about. But outside of that, their lineup is pretty much exactly the same. They did not do what the Mets did.
Yeah, not much
So
change.
I think right now, if you look at it, and there's still questions about whether Derek Cole is going to come back from this Tommy John surgery, and you know we had Luis Heel, who was a star prospect early in the season last year, and then he fell off the map.
Yep.
But if you look at both New York teams, the Mets surely did a lot more than the Yankees to improve their chances to get back in the postseason.
They had no choice
Yep.
to, though. I mean, they got rid of every guy you could possibly think of. They had no choice. They had to build up
Yep.
somewhere. Will they still be a great team? Only time will tell. But they did lose a lot of pieces, so they had to do something versus the Yankees, where they didn't lose that much.
I
compared
mean,
to
I
the
think
Mets.
we're all still reeling from this Kyle Tucker $60 million contract, but I mean,
I mean, the whole Dodgers team is loaded. I mean, that's a big storyline rather than just Tucker and the one guy. Brandon says, enjoy baseball for the next year. The lockout
yeah,
is
we know
coming.
it's coming. We know it's coming. But one other thing I wanted to bring out, we talk about Hall of Fame, and this was an interesting year. And you know what? To be quite frank, I think we're running out of candidates that are Hall of Fame worthy. Now, here's the two guys that got in were Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran. And listen, I watched both of these guys in the primes of their career. Andrew Jones is definitely one of the best center fielders of his era, without question. However, it's a 254 lifetime hitter. I mean, is that Hall of Fame worthy credentials? 2 times driving in 100 runs? I don't know. But that's what my point is.
I know.
There's really not a lot of viable candidates out there that are surefire, right? Aside from the PED era players, the Clemens and the Rodriguezes who are not getting the Bonds, who are not getting in because of that. But then you look at Carlos Beltran. He was also a interesting fact, by the way, Eli. Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran are like 1 day apart in age. Beltran has one more career home run than Andrew Jones, but he has a 279 batting average. So if you look at it and you had to take one of the two, I'd have less of a problem with Beltran. But from a defensive perspective, Andrew Jones got in with his glove, not with his bat. And I don't know. I mean, are these guys Hall of Fame worthy? You know, my position on this, are they up there with the Roots, the Gehrigs, the Williams, the DiMaggios, the Mantles, whatever, we're just running out of players to put into the Hall of Fame.
I agree. All right. Well, I think it's now time for Bring the Points, sponsored by Lynch Toyota, Manchester, Connecticut. Great job there by the baseball comments there, Jim.
Okay, Eli, go ahead.
Correct. Let's start with this. Trinity Rodman just signed a 3-year deal with the Washington Spirit soccer team, and that deal just made her the highest paid women's soccer player in the world. Congratulations on that.
There was a little controversy about that. Remember when the commissioner vetoed this contract that she had signed, but Dennis Rodman's daughter is the highest paid soccer player in the world for the women.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah. NBC Sports announces the return of Bob Costas, who will call Sunday night baseball games for NBC. It was originally with NBC when MLB was first with NBC, and before he went to MLB Network and Turner Sports. So good to see him back on NBC grounds. After 17 seasons with the Mets on SNY, director John DeMarco has decided to call it quits and has stepped down from his position.
Okay.
The Oscar nominations are officially out. Sinner leads with 16. One Battle After Another has 13. One big movie, though, Wicked for Good, didn't defy gravity, as they did not receive a single nomination for this year's Oscars. Pretty
No,
crazy.
this is a note. The one battle
Um,
after another. I tried to watch it. I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes, so I don't know what the buzz is about. So anyway,
well, why? Why couldn't you
it
get through it?
just
Was it powerful
yeah, no,
or
it was. It
boring
just
or
seemed so silly to me, and I just couldn't stay with it.
did you watch Sinner?
No, but I plan on watching Sinners. I believe it is right. Yeah,
No, I think it's Sinner.
is it? Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to double check. Taylor Swift has been inducted into Songwriters Hall of Fame, so congrats to her. And lastly, SNL is all new this week with host Taylor Green and Geese as your musical guest. So take a look at that.
I don't know who.
And you're right, it is Sinners.
Yeah, I don't know who the. I don't know who
Sinners, not
Taylor
Geese.
Green is, and I don't know who Grease is. I don't know who they are.
Geese.
Oh, Geese. Okay. Maybe that's why I don't know.
Either way, we're in for a great show. It's all that matters. Brendan comments. He says Beltran's signature moment, backwards K versus St. Louis. I realize postseason doesn't impact regular season numbers, but it saddens me that the Immortals are in with the Hall of Good Players.
Exactly. That's been my point forever. It's supposed to be for the elite, and if you talk about eliteness, Carlos Beltran or Andrew
That's it.
Jones doesn't come to mind. I agree 100%, Brendan. I do. All right, Eli, I got a few random
Alrighty, and go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is an interesting. I saw kind of a preview. So I think it's going to be on Fox. It was hosted by Dan Bowens, but it was a story about Eric LeGrand, and we all know who Eric was, who was paralyzed spinal cord injury for playing for Rutgers. But what an inspirational kid this is. He has become. He's a motivational speaker, and if you just listen to him, it's just I mean, you talk about a guy who took adversity and just devastating and turned it into such a positive and helping other people. I love that kind of story. Sports needs more Eric LeGrands. It's a great, great story. So check it out. It's going to be on Fox 5 somewhere, but you could just Google Eric LeGrand and just hear him speak for
Wow.
a few minutes, and you just know how impactful he has been. Great. Ole Miss golfer Mike Lasasso, and this isn't probably going to be the last time, who's the defending NCAA golf champion, has foregone his opportunity to play in the Masters golf tournament as the reigning NCAA champ, and instead golf to be on Phil Mickelson's team.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. I never have that ability to have made that decision, but playing at Augusta in the Masters is an opportunity of a lifetime, and maybe they'll resolve this and let the live guys back in. But that was kind of a surprising story. Mike Lasasso is his name, and like I said, I think I would take, if I were him, I'd take the opportunity to play in the Masters, because you can always go to live at some point, and you may not be able to do it vice versa. So we'll see how that works out. And Eli, we continuously talk about how the name, image, and likeness, the NIL things impacting collegiate sports at an unbelievable level, but it's starting to get ugly. I mean, in a sense that we knew what was happening. Teams, now are suing players who are on their team because they've entered the transfer portal, and what they're saying is they got all this money. They paid them the NIL money, and they can't just walk away. So it's basically like a contract, and we're going to see more
hilarious.
of this. In particular, it was Duke suing. They're suing Darian Mensah over this NIL thing, saying, "Hey, we paid you guys. We paid you this money. You can't just leave." And where was he contemplating going? The University of Miami. It's just going to get uglier and uglier on the landscape.
Okay, you see, here's what I think. if you're gonna quit basketball, there's no need to sue. But if you're gonna go to somewhere else, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
It's just an ugly thing that's going to continue to happen more and more.
Yeah. Well,
And one
that's
other
Dean I
quick
know for
note,
you.
and we've seen her. She was an outstanding sideline reporter for the NFL for many years, Michelle Tafoya, who's stepping away from her sports um, broadcasting career to run for Senate in Minnesota.
Well, she
I
did
think,
step away for a long time already. I mean, she's
yeah,
been out
yeah,
since
but
the last Super Bowl NBC had
right, but she never officially declared that she was going to run for the Senate
for the Senate,
until
right?
last week. Yeah. So
Right.
anyway, good
Andrew
stuff.
says, "Ouch, Brandon, that one hurts." Based off of that comment from Brandon. Alrighty. Well, it's time now for what's your recommendation in the photo segment, sponsored by Vital Selections. You can scan the QR code above, Jim, to learn more information.
Okay, what's your recommendation, Eli?
Well, the new Disneyland handcrafted documentary is out now. It's on Disney Plus and on YouTube for free. It's a behind-the-scenes documentary story about Disneyland, and it's a very good film, is what I heard. And it really
Mhm.
tells you a lot more information that you probably didn't know about the park. So I'm going to be checking that out, and I recommend you check that out. It's called Disneyland Handcrafted on Disney Plus and YouTube.
Okay. Um, yeah, I got one. Again, I told you. You know what I would like? I would like our loyal listeners to send
To
us
send us in
their
stuff.
recommendations. That would be
Yes,
nice too. That would be great.
that is great too.
Um,
Yes.
but there is a show that I want to see. I haven't seen it yet, but I know I'm going to enjoy it. They're doing a documentary on HBO on Mel Brooks, who's 99
Yep.
and goes back to Young Frankenstein, some of the great comedy movies. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I have been watching, it's only a 8 episodes, I don't want to say series, but it's just a show called The Night Of. It's a little tough, a little dark, but it's
Yep.
actually outstanding performances from John Turturro. Um, it's a like a murder mystery kind of thing, but I thought it was pretty good. I didn't realize it was from 10 years ago, but it was
It
actually
is.
it's worth watching. It's a little dark, but for adults only, I would say.
Okay. Here is some photos.
All right. And there it is. I thought this was a great photo. This was Tom Pugh and his friends. Um, but that really was an unbelievable epic run by
That
Mendoza in
was.
that game. And
I think
I
that might have
thought it
been one
was
of his
very,
best ones for the day. Yes, I agree with
yeah, but
that one.
that's a great picture. Obviously, it's, doctored AI, I guess. But
I mean,
anyway,
yeah, everything's AI. It's not AI. This is not AI.
this is not AI, but this is my dear friend Tom Shanley, who's been going through some medical issues. And, the backstory is, he's a dear friend of mine. We met during Hurricane Sandy and we become, very, very close for many years now. And I just wish him all the success in recuperating from these medical conditions because I need him. Um, in my life because it's been a tough year for me with some big losses. So I'm
Absolutely.
fortunate to have such a dear friend of mine, and I just wanted to post that picture of him looking pretty good in there. Actually, he looks good. So
Great. Well, praying as always for you guys as always. We do have
yep.
some notable passings to report. I will kick it off. Co-director of films like The Lion King, Roger Allens, has passed away at the age of 76. He was born in 1949.
Okay.
Valentino Gervani from the brand Valentino has passed away at the age of 93. And
I think
last,
I think I always got him mixed up with Versace or something. I don't know, these
stuff like that's all
Italian
right. Yeah,
designers.
it's you know how it is. An NJ comedian, Floyd Vivino, otherwise known as Uncle Floyd, has passed away at the age of 74.
You know what? I'm gonna say this because I did notice that, yeah, Uncle Floyd passed away. I was surprised he was only 74 because he
Yeah,
he did this show when I was a young kid. Um, it was kind of only for New York, New Jersey. It was on like local television, but it was a kind of a comedy in the soupy sales kind of mode, kind of slapstick thing. But I did notice that, and I can't believe it. So he must have been in his 20s when he started it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just back in
Any other ones?
'74. Yes,
Oh,
I
yes,
do.
that's right.
So from Major League Baseball, and we know that there are very few knuckleball pitchers in the game. It's a difficult pitch to throw and certainly have success. When you think about knuckleball, you think about um, Hoyt Wilhelm and those guys. But Wilbur Wood, who played for the Chicago White Sox for many years, was really, really good. And notable, Eli, he once started both games of a doubleheader against the New York
Wow.
Yankees. So, but I remember having his baseball card in my collection when I was a young lad. He was 84, actually, by the way.
Wow.
And one that just saw this morning, and John Brody, 90 years old, passed away. And John Brody played his entire career with the San Francisco 49ers, became the starting quarterback when the Giants traded Y.A. Tittle to the Giants. He was the MVP in 1970 and later went on to be on the senior PGA golf tour. And I had an opportunity to meet and speak with John Brody one time when I ran into him. Gracious guy, very nice guy. And his number 12 is retired by the San Francisco 49ers. So
Rightfully
that's a
so.
big loss for the 49ers community. But when I met him, he was a very nice guy. And I always appreciate guys that have had success, that they appreciate people who either recognize them or acknowledge that they were good at their craft. And John Brody was one of them. So
And Diego says, "Rip Uncle Floyd." And yes, of course, a big
I
loss
know,
for.
I know Diego
Well,
would remember that. Yeah.
But we had
I
a
don't think
really
our,
great.
I don't think our other audience members
Would
like
remember
Tom
him.
from
I don't remember him too much, but I
yeah, I
know.
know.
We had a really great show today. We thank everybody for watching. Enjoy the football this weekend. Be safe with the snow, and we will see you all next week at 10 o'clock for Sports with Mono Mono.
Yes, and like I mentioned before, Eli, I our loyal listeners are everything to us, and I would love for them to send us their recommendations for the recommendation segment. And I listen, you and I, we prepare for this. We don't do shtick with our show, right? We talk about
Absolutely. Real
points,
stuff, real
and
facts. Yep.
so I love for loyal listeners to share the information about our show so they can grow with us because excuse me, because we're not going anywhere.
We're staying
We're
right here.
we're only doing bigger and better. Tell a friend and have him subscribe and let him join the party. And I appreciate everyone who's listening. Thanks for the comments to
Absolutely.
everybody today. And everybody stay warm out there because it's cold and we got a big blizzard coming in
Oh,
the
it's cold.
Northeast. So
Yeah.
it
All
is
right, everyone.
cold.
Take
It
care,
is.
everyone. Have a great day.
We'll see you guys next
Bye-bye,
week.
everyone.
Thank you.